My biological mother claims she's the heroine of a stand-in revenge novel. Fine. I'll make everyone, including this little bitch, taste the price of betraying me. At my father's 4th wedding anniversary celebration with the vicious supporting female character, Teresa, my biological mother dragged me in, ignoring the security guards. Eric, I should be your wife, not this counterfeit. For a moment, everyone looked at Teresa, then at my biological mother, stunned. The two faces were too alike. They could have been carved from the same mold. My father didn't seem surprised but scowled and ordered people to drag my biological mother away. She's just a madwoman. Get her out of here. Hearing this, my biological mother immediately put on a heartbroken expression. You told me you were only in a marriage of convenience with Teresa, that you'd divorce her sooner or later and be with me. I've endured it for 4 years for you, and even gave birth to your child. But now, you've actually fallen in love with her. You're abandoning us. The crowd erupted in uproar. My father, flushed with anger, roared at my biological mother. Who the hell are you? What does any of this have to do with me? Get out. But his eyes shifted nervously, as if he felt somewhat guilty. Then, my biological mother shoved me forward for everyone to scrutinize. Take a good look. If this isn't your daughter, then whose is she? My eyes, nose, and the contours of my face all bore a faint resemblance to my father. Almost without needing a closer look, everyone was convinced I was indeed my father's child. Just as my father was about to deny it, my biological mother pulled out a paternity test. See? This is your Eric family's bloodline. Then, she whispered a curse in my ear. If you don't do as I say, I'll kill you when we get back. I remembered my biological mother's instructions, to cling to my father's leg and wail hysterically. The more pitiful, the better, while crying out. Daddy, don't stay with that evil woman. The 3 of us should be a family. Suddenly, a strong force pushed me from behind, making me stumble forward. Just as I was about to fall, a warm embrace caught me. Be careful. Though she had the same face as my biological mother, it was the first time I realized this face could smile gently. Instead of always being associated with hunger, cold, torment, and fear. Teresa carefully helped me up and straightened my messy clothes. Seeing this, my father nervously explained to Teresa, blaming everything on my biological mother. I really don't know anything. She's just a lunatic. My biological mother wasn't having it and continued her tirade. How ridiculous. Back then, the Quinn family sought me out, saying I'd be your stand-in to facilitate the marriage alliance with the Eric family. But afterward, your family turned around and denied everything. You kicked me to the curb. I did all the dirty work, while you, Teresa, always remained high and mighty. Right then, I heard my biological mother's conversation with that icy mechanical voice again. Host, that's it. This is the style of a revenge novel heroine. My mother snorted inwardly. If I hadn't failed to replace Teresa 4 years ago, I wouldn't have suffered for 4 extra years. I should have become the Quinn family's young lady and the Mrs. Eric long ago. My biological mother always said she was the heroine of a stand-in revenge novel. Teresa was the vicious supporting female character meant to be trampled underfoot. She said that wherever Teresa was, everyone's attention would only be on her. No one ever noticed my biological mother. She would hit me while cursing Teresa. You saved me back then, so why couldn't I be your only friend? Why did every boy I liked fall for you? Why was I always just a sidekick living in your shadow? Teresa, I went through so much to look like you. I will replace you and make you pay. Whenever this happened, a mechanical voice would appear to encourage my biological mother. Don't worry, heroine. I'll help you. When I was on the verge of passing out, my biological mother would take photos and send them to my father. If you don't come see your daughter soon, she'll starve to death. My father would curse, check if I was still alive, and snarl at my biological mother. If it weren't for the old man's orders, who the hell would care about this burden? Then he'd turn and follow my biological mother into the room, making sickeningly sweet noises. Although I didn't understand what it was, I knew this was the only time my biological mother didn't have the strength to hit or yell at me. It was my chance to secretly eat a little something and get some sleep. I once knelt and begged my father to take me away, but he would just shove me aside. Piss off. You're lucky to even be alive. If your mother hadn't gone to the Eric family back then, spilled the Quinn family's secret about using a stand-in, and been pregnant with you, she would have been silenced long ago. My father spat, looking utterly disgusted, and muttered to himself. But damn, with that face looking just like Teresa's, it's such a rush. Teresa wanted some pure love nonsense, so I had to use your mom as a substitute, didn't I? He smacked his lips as if savoring a memory, then turned and walked away, ignoring my cries for help. Every time he left, my biological mother would ask the system about the replacement value. Before, the system would happily tell her that the value kept rising. But recently, it had been constantly dropping. It was about to fall below the warning line, and my mother said we couldn't wait any longer. She couldn't just watch my father fall in love with Teresa while she remained nothing but a stand-in. So she decided to use this anniversary celebration to force my father to choose between her and Teresa. She knew how much the Eric family valued bloodline, so I was her final trump card. Teresa, however, didn't seem bothered by what my father or biological mother said. Her attention stayed on me. Hearing my stomach growl, she suddenly smiled and picked up a small piece of cake. Would you like something to eat? I nodded frantically at the delicious-looking cake. I was so hungry, absolutely starving. But before the cake could reach my mouth, my biological mother knocked it to the ground. She snatched me back, putting as much distance between us and Teresa as possible. Stay away from my child. Don't you dare try to hurt her. My father pushed my biological mother aside and stepped protectively in front of Teresa. He kept repeating his explanation. Teresa, my body and soul belong only to you. I love you. Since my father's public image was that of a loyal, family-oriented good man, but I was clearly his child, the situation reached a stalemate. Teresa suddenly smiled, elegant and composed, and addressed the crowd. My apologies for this scene. I don't know why this woman is slandering my husband, but the child she's holding is actually my daughter. She walked over to me and held out her arms. I know you ran away because you were angry that Mom was too strict, but you can't mistake someone else for your mother. Teresa glanced at my biological mother, picked up another piece of cake, and emphasized. Especially someone who doesn't feed you. My biological mother was furious. She pinched my waist hard and whispered a threat. If you dare go with her, I'll beat you to death. I listened to the system's alarm blaring in my head, watching my mother's face grow more panicked. The pain in my waist intensified, and my whole body trembled. But a powerful, inexplicable feeling told me this was my chance to escape her torment. In front of everyone, I threw myself into Teresa's arms, tears in my eyes. I'm sorry, Mommy. Teresa stroked my hair and fed me the cake. Good girl. The replacement value completely crashed at that moment. My biological mother's eyes turned bloodshot, and she screamed at me hysterically. Fine. You're just like Teresa. A little bitch, just like her. Then, she looked at my father with utter disappointment. Eric, after 4 years together, you are truly heartless. My father's hand twitched as if to reach out, but he let it fall. Then, the system's mechanical voice rang out. Host's replacement mission failed. However, the system detects the male lead's lingering feelings for the host. Switch main storyline to chasing wife in the crematorium mode. Once the host's regret value reaches 100, you will not only achieve revenge on Teresa but also receive a 20 billion reward. Fine. I'll make everyone, including this little bitch, taste the price of betraying me. Suddenly, my biological mother's frantic expression vanished, replaced by silence. She glanced at me and said to my father calmly. Since my lover and my child are both abandoning me, I wish your new family happiness. With that, she turned and walked away. She was radiating a depth of disappointment I had never seen before. But inwardly, she was excitedly asking the system for an update. The system gave her a thumbs up. Host's performance is excellent. Regret value has already reached 5 points. My father seemed to want to chase after her, but in the end, he didn't take a step. With my biological mother gone, the atmosphere at the party quickly returned to normal, as if the incident had been nothing but a minor interruption. Amid the crowd's cheers, Aunt Teresa and my father signed a major cooperation agreement. May the collaboration between the Eric and Quinn families grow ever stronger. Though my father seemed distracted, only snapping back to attention after a nudge from a solemn, dignified old man beside him. Just as everyone started chanting for my father and Aunt Teresa to kiss, Aunt Teresa, holding me, politely declined. The child is quite frightened, I need to take her somewhere quiet to calm down. The crowd then began to tease my father. When did you have a daughter? You never said a word. My father raised his glass without changing expression. Teresa wanted to wait until she was older to announce it. My apologies for the surprise, I'll punish myself with a drink. The smile on Aunt Teresa's face vanished the moment we turned the corner, replaced by a look of utter disgust. But noticing my gaze, she quickly softened back into her usual gentle expression. What's your name, sweetheart? I instinctively gripped her sleeve and whispered. I'm called Little Beggar. Aunt Teresa's frown made me panic. I dropped to my knees and kowtowed. Please, don't send me away. I'll just need a little food, that's all. I pulled up my clothes, revealing a body covered in bruises. In the past, showing strangers my wounds always earned me a few bites to eat. The lady next door would often give me noodles while crying. You poor child, life has been so cruel to you. Aunt Teresa's eyes filled with pain. She knelt down and gently pulled my clothes back into place. Tell me, who gave you that name? Everyone on the street calls me that. Little Beggar. I thought hard for a moment, then added. But Mom, she calls me Little Bitch. Tears welled in Aunt Teresa's eyes as she pulled me into her embrace. Let's change your name. From now on, you'll be in Lou. It means peace and happiness. I'll take care of you. I didn't understand what a vicious supporting female character was. Nor why my biological mother hated Aunt Teresa so much. All I knew was that since coming with Aunt Teresa, I had a soft bed to sleep in, delicious meals to eat, and more clothes than I could count. No one hit me here. No one yelled at me. No one pressed burning cigarette butts into my skin. Except for my father. One day, he suddenly dragged me into a storage room, his face terrifying. Letting you stay is me being merciful. If you dare tell Teresa about me and your mother, I'll feed you to the dogs. He gripped my collar, his spit landing on my white lace dress. I could only hold back my tears and nod vigorously. The next second, he threw me to the ground, seething with irritation. And if your mother contacts you, you tell me immediately. I whispered a pained yes, which only made him roar, you hear me? I hear you. Only after hearing my reply did he curse and storm out. Useless little brat. The door slammed shut with a heavy thud. Fear and helplessness swallowed me whole. I frantically pounded on the door. Daddy, don't lock me in. I'll be good. Open the door. Please open the door. In the darkness, it felt like that night all over again. When my father had left my biological mother because Aunt Teresa was sick. My mother had taken a stick and vented all her fury on me. Why couldn't you have been a boy? Then that bitch Teresa wouldn't stand a chance. Cry, cry, cry. Is that all you can do? You can't even keep your father here. You're useless. She locked me in a shed with a stray dog. Its barking echoed around me, threatening to attack at any moment. But I couldn't see, it was too dark. So cold, so sore. I was so scared. Since that day, I've been terrified of the night. Especially when I'm alone. Just as I was sinking into despair, feeling like I was drowning and couldn't breathe, a light appeared. Aunt Teresa gathered me into her arms, her scent faint and calming. And Lou, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. I'm here. So there was light in the darkness after all. Half asleep, I thought I heard Aunt Teresa arguing with another woman. Teresa, are you insane? You've been planning for years, lying low. You're finally about to take down the Quinn and Eric families in one move, to break free from this cage, and now you want to keep a burden like her? Besides, this child isn't even yours, she's the product of those two lunatics. The woman sounded on the verge of a meltdown, and continued. If it weren't for the Eric family valuing your ability and connections, the one who married into the Eric family, the one the Quinn family abandoned, would have been your stand-in, that child's biological mother, Yvette. And now you want to raise her child? Have you lost your mind? Aunt Teresa's voice was steady and firm, like a flowing stream. Gooey, she just reminds me of myself when I was young. After a moment of silence, the woman laughed. Fine. If that's how it is, then let's just burn the Quinn and Eric families to the ground together. They owe you. We'll make them pay, you and me. Aunt Teresa took care of me every day, never leaving my side, even sleeping next to me. She seemed to have had a big argument with my father, who left slamming the door in anger. What a deadbeat bastard. Aunt Teresa muttered a few more curses, but when she saw me peeking through the door crack, her face immediately lit up with a bright smile. And Lou, come here. I want to teach you something. When people dislike you or bully you, don't let it bother you. Instead, you have to fight back. Hard. I tilted my head. But what if I can't win? Then you wait until you are strong enough, and then you crush them beneath your feet. It's not that they won't get theirs, it's just that their time hasn't come yet. Aunt Teresa's eyes shone with starlight as she said this. Somehow, I felt encouraged too. Okay. One day, Aunt Teresa wasn't home and had left me with the nanny. The stern old man from the banquet appeared at the house and looked me over. Seeing that I didn't cry or make a fuss, he seemed satisfied. Not bad. There's something to you. The old man patted my head, his tone was kind but brooked no argument. Since you've recognized Teresa as your mother, from now on, you are to have no further contact with your biological mother. Starting today, as per Teresa's wish, you will be called Eric and Lou. Then, his gaze grew distant as he recalled. We didn't bring you back before because we were afraid of angering the Quinn family, afraid of angering Teresa. These past years, if it weren't for Teresa taking charge, with that rebellious son of mine running things, the Eric family would have collapsed long ago. Teresa has vision. She understands that ultimate benefit comes first. By acknowledging you, she preserved the Eric family's honor. Otherwise, that madwoman of a mother of yours would have dragged both the Quinn and Eric families down with her sooner or later. If she had just behaved and stayed quiet, I might have allowed Eric to keep her outside as a plaything. Otherwise. The old man's tone turned sharp and cold. We would have made her disappear from this world. After speaking, he watched my reaction and warned. So, you had better be obedient too. Understood? I nodded quickly, showing complete submission. I didn't fully understand everything the old man said, but I grasped the main point. If I was obedient, I wouldn't be thrown out. Aunt Teresa took me shopping for pretty dresses, bought me delicious food, and got me a big set of colorful markers for drawing. She even enrolled me in school, just like other kids. And Lou, remember, learning to read and write at school will never be more important than you being happy, okay? Aunt Teresa helped me put on my little backpack and checked my supplies. I'll pick you up after school. I thought kindergarten would be as wonderful as Aunt Teresa described. But for some reason, the other children seemed to reject me. A boy with a big belly even spat on my seat. Illegitimate child. Your mom didn't want you. Then, others would crowd around and laugh. My mom said your mom is a slut. She seduced your dad and secretly had you. She still wanted to marry into the Eric family. What a delusional dream. And you're a little slut too. One piece of cake and you call someone else mom. The big-bellied boy, their ringleader, poured his leftover drink on my drawing. "Here, have a drink. Call me Daddy." When I didn't react, he kicked over my table with disgust and stomped on my drawing. My mom also said that even that Teresa is weak, she can't even keep her own man. Rage surged through me. I immediately fought back. Countless fists landed on my head, my back, my stomach. I wasn't scared. Whoever hit me, I hit back. Just like Aunt Teresa said, for people who hate and bully me, I have to fight back. The teacher came to break up the fight and slapped me across the face. Truly the spawn of a mistress. Evil by nature. Fighting on your very first day at kindergarten. A ringing filled my ears as my senses returned. That's when I realized that all the kids who had been mocking me were now on the ground, crying for their moms. The teacher looked at me with pure venom and disgust, constantly wiping her hands with a tissue. "I will be notifying your guardian. We certainly cannot keep a child like you here." Soon, Aunt Teresa appeared at the doorway. The teacher immediately couldn't resist a sarcastic remark. "And Lou is quite something. On her first day, she managed to make half the class cry by fighting." Aunt Teresa ignored the teacher's chatter, knelt down, and checked me over. In that moment, I was filled with regret. Had I caused trouble for Aunt Teresa? Had I embarrassed her? Would Aunt Teresa not want me anymore? Noticing Aunt Teresa's gaze fixated on the bright red slap mark on my face, the teacher cleared her throat. "The children here all come from wealthy, powerful families. My slap was a punishment for Lou, to placate the other parents." The next moment, a crisp slapping sound rang out. Aunt Teresa's voice turned icy, devoid of all warmth. "You dare lay a hand on my daughter? It seems you don't want this kindergarten to stay open." The teacher was shocked, holding her cheek and shrieking. "And look at people." As her teacher, I was just correcting her. "What's wrong with that?" Aunt Teresa slapped her again, this time hard enough to send the teacher to the floor. "Then me correcting an unqualified preschool teacher like you, what's wrong with that?" Aunt Teresa took my hand, her eyes full of approval. "Besides, even if my daughter did throw the first punch, it's still the other party's fault." With that, she picked me up and left. On the way home, Aunt Teresa saw my hesitant look and couldn't help but laugh. "What's wrong? Were you scared of me?" I quickly shook my head. "I thought you would." "Blame you?" Aunt Teresa cut me off. "I know your nature. Those other children must have bullied you first, and you fought back." She stroked my head gently. "That's the principle I taught you. You did very well." My nose stung, and tears suddenly streamed down my face. I carefully pulled the dirty, crumpled drawing from my pocket and handed it to her. "Mommy, they were saying bad things about you, and they stepped on the drawing. That's why I fought back." Mom's eyes reddened, glistening teardrops fell onto the paper, blurring a large stain. It revealed the beautiful eye I had drawn so carefully. It was Mom's eye. Completely different from the eyes full of hatred and ugliness I had known since childhood. Mom hugged me tightly, her voice choked with sobs. "The mommy in Lee's drawing is drawn so well. This is the mother I had always dreamed of." That kindergarten was shut down. I heard Grandpa took care of it after learning what happened. He even went after the family businesses of the kids who had insulted me. Do they think I'm dead? That the Eric family is gone? I knew he did this not for me, but for the Eric family's reputation. But I was still deeply moved. After all, according to my father, without Grandpa's order, I wouldn't even be alive. There aren't many people in this world who are good to me, how could I ask for more? I thought life would continue beautifully like this, until those nightmare-like eyes appeared again. One day after school, the nanny's car that usually picked me up was replaced by my father's long black car. He stood at the gate, and ignoring my struggles, had someone drag me over to him. "I'm your father. I'm not going to hurt you." I hadn't seen much of my father lately. I overheard the nanny say he had been looking for my biological mother. They were even sure he might want to be with her. They said they'd never seen him argue with Grandpa so fiercely over a woman. I didn't believe it and asked Mom about it. Listening to the shouting outside the door, she said calmly, "Sweetheart, to defeat an enemy, you must first let them become arrogant and reckless." I didn't understand what that meant. I only knew that after that day, Grandpa was hospitalized with a serious illness. Mom often worked late and didn't come home at night. So when I saw my father, my first instinct was to run. Sure enough, the first thing I saw when I was shoved into the car was my biological mother. Her eyes were red and swollen as she reached out for me. "Sweetheart, Mommy missed you. Come, let me hold you." She seemed to really love me, to really miss me. But, her inner thoughts. "You little bitch, you're finally in my hands. Ungrateful wretch, how dare you betray me? Just wait, I'll make you suffer." Terror instantly gripped me, and I shrank back, resisting. "You're not my mom. I don't want you." My father's fist connected with my head, making stars explode in my vision and draining all my strength to fight back. "She's your biological mother. How can you treat her like this?" My biological mother pushed my father aside, gathered me into her arms, and cried pitifully. "How could you hit her? She's our precious baby." She carefully wiped my wound and tried to coax me with treats. I knew resisting was useless, so I secretly pressed the button on the left side of my smartwatch. It was a distress signal, specially designed for me by Mom. No matter when, Mom would get the message and come to me as fast as she could. And I just had to survive until then. I thought my biological mother would hit and yell at me like before. But she was unusually gentle, completely different from the past. She told me stories, showed me new clothes she bought for me. The way my father looked at her was different too, there was a lot more tenderness in his eyes. Just like the look he had when he told Mom, "Teresa, I love you." My biological mother was playfully fussing. My father watched her and smiled as he drove. It was as if we were truly a happy family of three. And that's when I heard the conversation between my mother and the system. "Host, are you sure you want to activate the final mode of chasing wife in the crematorium, the life and death battlefield of regret?" "Yes. After this, the host will continue to accumulate regret value in soul form, but the time limit is only 3 months. If the target is achieved within the deadline, the host will be resurrected, receive 20 billion, and Teresa will be erased. Otherwise, the host will die permanently, and Teresa will replace you as the heroine." My biological mother hesitated for a moment, but looking at the regret value, which had already reached 40, and seeing my father's current devotion to her, she resolutely agreed, "No problem." After all, it had only taken her a little over a month to make Eric spend all his time with her. Besides, this is the life and death battlefield of regret. Eric will only be even more remorseful. The sky grew darker, and my fear magnified endlessly. There were no stars or moon tonight, only thick, heavy clouds. The car stopped on a mountain. My biological mother told my father to go gather firewood for a romantic picnic. She led me to the edge of a cliff where a biting cold wind whipped against us. The kindly smile on her face instantly twisted into its usual terrifying expression. She choked my throat, picked up a branch, and started beating me mercilessly. "You ungrateful white-eyed wolf. You little bitch. How dare you betray me? How dare you? Hiding from me, avoiding me? I'll beat you to death." Suffocation, pain, despair. I felt like I was really about to die. Then, Mom's voice rang out. "Yvette, let her go. You won't escape otherwise." Through blurred vision, I saw many people standing behind Mom. I knew Mom had come to save me. The next moment, huge gulps of fresh air rushed into my lungs. I coughed violently, unable to speak. My biological mother blinked innocently and patted my back. "No, of course not. She's my daughter. Why would I hurt her?" Just then, my father's roar cut through the air. "Teresa, what are you doing? How can you pressure Lily like this? She just wanted to see Lou." Mom ignored my father, her eyes fixed intently on me in my biological mother's arms. "Let Lou go. But my biological mother acted as if she hadn't heard, suddenly bursting into tears. Teresa, you stole my life, you stole my lover, you stole my daughter. And now, you're pushing me to my death. She took a few steps back, right to the very edge of the cliff. She set me down on the ground but kept a death grip on my arm, refusing to let go. And you, Eric. I loved you so much, but you only ever saw me as Teresa's stand-in. You played with me, you strung me along. I endured it all for our daughter. But I'm just so tired. I can't do this anymore. Since there's no place for me in your heart, I'm willing to step aside, to let you be happy. A light drizzle began to fall. My biological mother whispered in my ear. Sweetheart, I want you to be the one to push me. I want you to suffer for the rest of your life, knowing you killed your own mother. This is the price for betraying me. I was still gasping for air, barely able to process her words. In the next instant, she suddenly grabbed my hands and shoved them against herself, throwing her weight backward over the edge. Her eyes were filled with triumph, staring straight at me as she fell into the abyss. My biological mother was dead. My father let out a sharp, agonized roar and shoved me to the ground. Lily! Lily! Only empty wind answered from below the cliff. Getting no response, my father, his eyes bloodshot, grabbed my shoulders. She was your mother. How could you push her? Eric, you're insane. She's just a child. There's no way she could have done it. Mom rushed forward, kicked my father away, and pulled me into her arms. It's okay, sweetheart, Mommy's here. And Lou, say something. Call me Mommy. And Lou, you didn't push her. I knew Mom was calling to me, but The look on my biological mother's face before she died, her words. Had my own hands killed my mother? I could almost see my biological mother's transparent form standing next to my crumbling father. I heard her conversation with the system again. Congratulations, host. Regret value has risen to 50. I told you this move would work. My biological mother snorted coldly and glanced at me. Serves her right for betraying me. Hope she's scared out of her mind. Better if she goes crazy, lives a living hell tormented by nightmares every single day. From that day on, Mom kept me by her side almost every waking moment. And Lou, this is your favorite braised pork. I also bought you a little cake. And Lou, talk to me, please? Say something? And Lou, it wasn't your fault. Mom's eyes were so beautiful, always full of warmth. But now, when she looked at me, they were always filled with sadness and pain. I wanted to give Mom a big, bright smile, to tell her I was okay. But I just couldn't make myself do it. Every second, I could feel my biological mother's hateful gaze following me, willing me to die. Just like the look she gave me before she died. You regret it now, don't you? But it's too late. Choosing that bitch Teresa will land you in the 18th level of hell. I knew about hell, my biological mother had shown me videos. She would drink and then reenact the tortures from the videos on me. Though it was different from the real hell. Too bad you have to stay alive, or the old man won't let your father stay with me. So, the water poured on me was scalding hot, but not enough to cause severe injury. The needles she used weren't too large, the marks faded in a few days. The dog crate she locked me in was small, just big enough to hold me. These nightmares, accompanied by my biological mother's shrill laughter, became more and more frequent. It felt like I was back in that dark room. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape. But this time, the door opened. I woke up trembling and crying, and Mom held me in her arms. So warm, like sunlight on my face. Mom kept telling me it wasn't my fault. That my biological mother had planned it all to make me suffer. I knew that, deep down. But I still wanted to ask, why? Why were other children's parents so good to them? Why was my very existence a mistake? Maybe not even a mistake, just a tool, as that cold system called me. A tool for my biological mother to get revenge on the vicious supporting female character. An excuse for her to stay connected to my father, a burdensome heir my father was forced to acknowledge. I didn't understand. I had always wanted an answer, but then I heard the system's prompt. Congratulations, host. Regret value has reached 60. I knew it. It's only been a week, and it's rising so fast. My biological mother sneered and spat in mine and Mom's direction in the void. Once the regret value hits 100, I'll make Teresa disappear from this world. In that moment, I felt the answer didn't matter anymore. I would never let anyone hurt Mom. After my biological mother died, my father seemed normal at first. He went about his life, eating, drinking, as if nothing had happened. He even had different women coming to the house every day. Without exception, they all looked similar. Like Mom, but even more like my biological mother. He would bring gifts for Mom, saying, "That bitch is finally dead. I'm free of her. You're the best, Teresa. Let's live a good life together." But I felt like the way he looked at Mom was different, as if he was seeing someone else. Just like the way he used to look at my biological mother. He had completely ignored me, acting as if I didn't exist. Then one day, he burst into my room, threw me to the floor, and started beating me. The overwhelming smell of alcohol made it hard to even open my eyes. Did it hurt? I had long since grown numb to that feeling. "You little monster. Your mother raised you, how dare you scheme against her? You and Teresa are both bitches, worthless sluts. And I'm a fucking piece of shit too." My father lost all his strength, slumped to the floor, and began slapping his own face. "If it weren't for Teresa competing with Lily for me, making you turn on your own mother. How could Lily leave me? She loved me so much. It's my fault, I didn't see Teresa's black heart." I pushed myself up, mustering the courage for the first time to defy the man who brought me nightmares. "That's not true. Mom isn't like that. Yvette lied to you. She wanted revenge on Mom." But this only earned me more brutal, flesh-pounding blows from Eric. Yvette cheered and egged him on from the sidelines. "Hit her harder. Beat the little bitch to death. Do it." Eric finally found the suicide note I left him. Heaven is helping me. Watching the blood trickle from my mouth, Yvette crouched down to admire it, laughing scornfully. Honestly, my note wasn't that convincing on its own. Who'd believe Teresa ordered you to kill your own mom? But Teresa showed up that day, with all those bodyguards, just to save you. Eric has to believe it now, whether he wants to or not. Ha ha ha. My heart seemed to stop, and breathing became difficult. "Mom, it seems I've caused you trouble again. If only I hadn't sent that signal." Eric was stopped by Mom's best friend, Auntie Yang. Auntie Yang beat him to the ground until he couldn't get up. "You're not human. You're not even fit to be called scum, hitting your own daughter." If Teresa hadn't asked me to check on Enlu, her life would have been over. Seemingly still furious, Auntie Yang kicked Eric a few more times. Cursing, she picked me up and rushed me to the hospital. Seeing my weak will to live, Auntie Yang scolded me. "So weak. Can't you just live well and get your revenge later? Your mom is finally about to turn things around. If you die, all her endurance and hard work will be for nothing." "Mom. I can't let Yvette hurt Mom. I can't let Mom be sad because of me anymore. I have to protect Mom." After I came out of surgery, Mom held me, tears streaming down her face. I raised my small hand and touched her cheek. "Don't worry, Mommy. Enlu is okay. The doctor said if we had been any later, I really would have been gone." Watching Yvette gnash her teeth and curse nearby, I suddenly felt a strange sense of satisfaction. It was like after being suppressed for so long, I could finally take a deep breath. I stopped questioning the meaning of my existence. Yvette was furiously demanding answers from the system. Why? I even used a month of my time to make that little ungrateful wretch die. Why didn't it work? The system's calm voice replied. After detection, due to the main storyline upgrade to the life and death battlefield of regret, the accumulation of regret value is a comprehensive judgment based on all loved ones and family who have betrayed you. Yvette suddenly froze, her voice trembling. What does that mean? This means the regret value doesn't only come from Eric, but also from Eric and Lou. Among it, Eric's regret value accounts for 80 points, and Eric and Lee's accounts for 20 points. The system paused, then summarized, therefore, Eric and Lou cannot die. Yvette panicked. No, that can't be. She hates me to death. How could she possibly feel regret for me? She frantically demanded the system modify the data, change the main storyline. But the system didn't comply as it usually did. Instead, due to her unreasonable troublemaking, it deducted another day of her remaining lifespan as punishment. In that moment, Yvette seemed to suddenly realize her predicament. She had thought that relying on Eric would allow her to resurrect beautifully and live out her life as the revenge novel's heroine. To get her revenge on Mom, on me, on Eric. But now, that dream was shattered. She could only rely on me, on the little bitch she always called me. From what she said, if she were still alive, she would come find me, she would act like a mother. That way, she could make me regret her death. But she was already dead. The current Yvette was just a transparent soul. She could do nothing. System, please, help me. The system, helpless, offered a solution. After detection, Eric and Lee's deepest desires are love and survival. You can enter her dreams to compensate for her childhood lacks, but the cost is 1 day of survival for each dream entry. You currently have only 43 days left. Yvette cursed. For that little brat? She's not worth it. But for the remaining regret value, Yvette had no choice but to compromise. And I just watched it all quietly, a bright, innocent smile on my face. Mom, who was feeding me nutritious porridge, poked my head, a bit exasperated. Eat properly. Don't just watch TV. I nodded obediently, finished the rest of the porridge deliciously, and let out a satisfied burp. I threw myself into Mom's arms, greedily inhaling her comforting scent. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you for giving me a home. For making me no longer cold, no longer hungry, no longer afraid. No longer doubting whether I should die. But giving me the courage and hope to live. Mom was a bit confused by my sudden outburst but smiled and hugged me back. And Lou, let me tell you a little secret. Mommy will be able to take you away very soon. That night, Yvette indeed entered my dreams. In the dream, one moment Yvette was beating me, the next she quickly threw down the stick in her hand. She picked me up from the ground where I was trembling in pain. Her voice was full of panic. Sweetheart, I'm sorry, Mommy didn't mean to. I didn't speak, just coughed violently. Strange, it was just a dream, so why did it hurt so much? Yvette finished giving me water and went to the kitchen to cook for me. What would you like to eat today, sweetheart? Mommy will make it for you. Anything that fills my stomach is fine. I spoke calmly, as if unmoved by her actions. Yvette was stunned for a moment, complaining to the system. Are you sure this will heal her? I remember she was always so happy whenever I cooked before. She would even eagerly come help me. What's wrong this time? System, this is definitely the right approach. You just need to give her the warmth of a home, and she will start to miss you. That way, when she returns to reality, she'll regret not choosing you in the first place. After all, you are her biological mother. They whispered back and forth, quickly reigniting Yvette's fighting spirit. It was as if she really could win me over. But she seemed to have forgotten that the wounds on my body, even if they healed, would leave scars. Besides, these wounds healed themselves through countless nights of me enduring pain and struggling in despair. Not through a few of her dreams. On the table were all the food she thought I liked. Spicy and sour noodles, plain boiled cabbage, half-cooked rice. Yvette deliberately brought the rice bowl to me. You always loved rice before, could eat several bowls. Have more today. Before, I had never tasted sweet cake, soft nutritious porridge, or meat dishes and snacks specially made for a child's palate. I thought a bowl of plain rice could fill my stomach for days, and even plain boiled cabbage was incredibly delicious. But now, I found this bowl of rice hard to swallow. I didn't touch my chopsticks, staring at Yvette, my voice hoarse. I can't eat spicy food. Yvette was puzzled, but you used to love it? That's because I could only eat your leftovers. Every time I finished, my stomach would hurt so much I'd pass out. Mom had taken me to a doctor who said my stomach was too delicate for irritating foods. But back then, I was just too hungry. Yvette started to curse like she used to, but seemed to catch herself. In the end, she opened her mouth but said nothing. But in her heart, she was criticizing me, calling me a pretentious bitch. Yeah, why was I being so foolish as to tell her these things? She wasn't my mother anymore. I didn't want her. Every night after that, Yvette would come to me in my dreams. She would take me shopping, to amusement parks, to eat all kinds of delicious food. She showed me various landscapes and played with all sorts of toys with me. Faced with this eager, dream-weaving Yvette, I played along with all my might. So much so that she assured the system. This child is so easy to coax. Give her a little sweetness and she's completely open with me. The system, looking at the regret value that hadn't budged, fell silent. Every time I woke from a beautiful dream back to reality, I would cry, calling out for Mom. Yvette thought she had me wrapped around her finger. The sweeter the dream, the more she has to face the cruel reality that she killed her own mother when she wakes up. She clicked her tongue sighing, can't be helped. Reality is just that cruel. One day, Grandpa Eric came back with Mom, looking furious. Teresa, the Eric family has treated you well, hasn't it? Even though Eric cheated, he never thought about divorcing you. How could you have him locked up in a mental institution just because he hit on Lou once? He nearly beat his own daughter to death, made his elders faint from anger, sold off Eric family shares just to please some floozy. Mom, her usual smile gone, looked at him darkly, her voice cold. Doesn't that sound like a madman to you? You. Grandpa Eric coughed violently, his eyes wishing he could kill Mom. But he could only helplessly tap his cane on the floor. He's your husband. So now the Eric family belongs to me. Mom walked over, pulled out a document, and threw it at the old man. This is Eric's share transfer agreement. From today, I am the actual controlling shareholder of Eric Corp. Oh, wait, I also bought out the Quinn family at a very low price. I plan to merge the two. Mom picked me up from where I was eavesdropping and nuzzled my cheek affectionately with her nose. I've even thought of a name for the new group, Enlee's Golden Age. Grandpa Eric's face turned purple with rage, and he fainted on the spot. Mom didn't seem to care, her eyes only on my smiling face. But her words seemed to come from something buried deep in her heart for a long time. And Lou, I'm finally free. It turned out Mom had been raised by the Quinn family since childhood as a tool for a marriage alliance. Music, chess, calligraphy, painting, and etiquette were her required studies. Business and management were never taught to her. In fact, whenever they caught her trying to learn them secretly, they would lock her up and beat her. She wasn't allowed to have any contact with the opposite sex. She could only live according to Mrs. Quinn's requirements for cultivating a perfect wife. Otherwise, she faced punishment with psychiatric drugs and re-education. Mom was unwilling but could only endure. She quietly studied and grew stronger, just waiting to break free from their control. Finally, she proved herself more valuable than her brother. She could make the Quinn family bigger and stronger. But faced with the Eric family's marriage proposal, Mrs. Quinn, to force Mom to compromise, even threatened to replace her with a stand-in. The Eric family was no pushover either, they had spotted Yvette, the counterfeit, long ago. Grandpa Eric was shrewd, what he wanted was a strong woman who could assist his good-for-nothing grandson. Not a vase who was all looks and no substance. He could allow Eric to keep women, to have children. But these women would never replace Mom. Businessmen prioritize profit. As a last resort, Mrs. Quinn threatened suicide, finally forcing Mom to agree to the marriage alliance. Meanwhile, Mom bided her time in secret, building her own company and power base. She gradually eroded the Quinn family and even reached a position to rival the Eric family. Mom had gathered enough evidence to bring down the Eric family. But out of consideration for Grandpa Eric's past care, she didn't want to go that far, she just wanted to leave. That's when I appeared. Mom saw her own helpless past self in me, and she wanted to save me. So, to take me away, she had to become the de facto ruler of the Eric family. She had to become so powerful that Grandpa Eric could no longer threaten her, and Eric could no longer lay a hand on her. She wanted to clear all obstacles for my future. My mom, thank you. 16. Only 3 days were left. Yvette had already accumulated Eric's 80 points. Plus, she was convinced that her kindness to me over this time was enough to make me regretful. So, she confidently opened the regret value interface, only to find my 20 points were still at 0. Why? System, I did everything you said. Why is it still like this? Yvette held with utter heartbreak, but was met only with the system's silence. The system was baffled too. According to the chasing wife in the crematorium playbook, it shouldn't be like this. Because I could hear your plans with the system all along, and I could even see the expression on your face right now. I stared straight at Yvette, every word meant to pierce her heart. From the day you switched the main storyline with the system, I knew everything. Yvette stood rooted to the spot, her voice trembling. That's impossible. Then what about the things in the dreams? I showed a pure, harmless smile, tilting my head and shrugging. Playing along with you. Just like the countless times before when you'd abandoned me on the street under the pretense of playing hide and seek, forcing me to apologize and submit. I walked up to Yvette, my smile vanishing. So, was this game fun? Bitch. You bitch. I'll kill you. Yvette suddenly went berserk, lunging at me with bloodshot eyes. I'll kill you, kill you. Her transparent form passed right through me, unable to harm me at all. But she kept trying, punching and kicking at me. Yet she couldn't even stir the air around me. After a long while, she collapsed onto the ground, utterly dazed. My 20 billion, my rebirth. I'm the heroine. In the final 3 days, she would sometimes cry and laugh, sometimes fall silent, sometimes curse me. She seemed just like Eric when I saw him in the mental institution. Had she gone mad too? Finally, at the very last moment, she vanished from this world. And Mom was holding me, wearing a dazzling red diamond dress, walking under everyone's gaze towards the highest position in the business world. Announcing to the world. And Lee's golden age is officially established today. At the same moment, I heard the system chime. Congratulations, host Teresa. The revenge novel heroine system has been activated.